Okay, so we are live on all the mediums. Uh, Good evening, everybody, and thank you for spending this part of the day with us. I am Venkatraman from YouTube Can Run, and we are the promoters. We conceived and we promoted this event called 500K Step Challenge. The purpose of the event was to get people to walk. We have always been big around running, but we know that in any advanced society, in any society, not more than 10% of the people run. Okay, and that also is a very small number. But most people know that about half an hour of walking is a good exercise and walking is desirable. Nobody disputes that walking is a good exercise. And we thought that even if we get sedentary people as we emerge out of COVID and we can make them healthy, we can get more people to walk and make more people healthy. So we are looking for an inspiration. Who has done the biggest walking thing, in this country? And almost everybody we asked, they said Mahatma Gandhi, Dandi Salt March. He's the guy who walked, kind of thing. They don't remember the exact history, but there's this, and therefore we fixed on Dandi Salt March, and we said that if Mahatma Gandhi walked 410 kilometers over 22 days, over 25 days with 3 rest days, then how many steps would he have walked? And then we did some number crunching and we came to that he has walked about 5 lakh steps over 22 days over this 410 kilometers. So we said, let's give it something imaginative, large thing, and called it the 500K step challenge, 5 lakh step challenge, which is basically to walk the 5 lakh steps that Mahatma Gandhi walked, starting on March 12th, 1930, and finishing on April 5th, 1930, and going to 22 villages. And then, it was a very big event and it was a kind of thing that liberated the country. So we said that if he could walk and liberate the country, can you walk and liberate yourself from, slothfulness, sedentary life, become healthy, diabetes, and all the good things that happen when you start exercising. So that really was the very nutshell concept of the event. And, we are very happy to have Tushar Gandhi come and join us on the advisory board. Tushar Gandhi, for those who don't know, is the great grandson of the Mahatma himself. And welcome to the talk today. Welcome to the show, Tushar. And for those who don't know, Tushar has himself walked twice from Sabarmati to Dandi to kind of recreate the exact route and the exact path. Many people have walked, but Tushar himself has also walked, and to kind of relive that, epic landmark in the freedom struggle of a country. We also have, so one of the things that YouTube Can Run does is that in every single event that we do, we have a charity component. That's kind of part of our DNA, part of the mandate that we set for ourselves. My earlier meeting was for 3 events that are going to do with a NGO that is about, persons with disability, PWD cause. So, in every event we have this. Yesterday, I was in Goa. Again, another charitable organization runs 8 orphanages. We do a running event for them. So in every event, we try to see that some good to society must happen, along with walking, running, whatever we do. And we are very happy to have India Cares Foundation, which is an umbrella CSO, if I can use that term, to bring on board, multiple CSOs, so that the event is kind of cost neutral, and every CSO can use the event to raise funding. For those who don't know, India Cares Foundation, headed by Meena Dave, is the umbrella charity partner for the Airtel Delhi Half Marathon, the TCS World 10K, and the TSK 25K in Calcutta. That is the 3 program events other than the Mumbai Marathon. And in the 7 or 8 years of their existence, they have raised about 110 crores, which is a huge amount of money that they have done. And all these are like audited figures, etc. So she's like, she knows everybody in the CSO world knows Meena Dave. So welcome to the talk, Meena. Nice to have you here. So I would like Tushar, Meena to first take over, and I'll unmute you. Yeah, sorry. And Meena, you can tell us something about ICFN and how this event is integrating with the CSOs.
Yeah, thanks. And it is a pleasure to be a part of the 500K step. It's the first year. I don't think people have heard about you know, Dandi walk, all of it. But nobody hasn't sunk in that it was actually 5 lakh steps, which is amazing. And happy to be here. We have a lot of organizations who are a part of it. As of now, 20 organizations. We have some of the best fundraisers of our country a part of it. And Dwarka is here, so she is also a very good fundraiser for the sector, for the cause that she works in. And I think since it is now just started, we are looking at growing it over the next few years to be something that every organization, no matter where they are based. Usually events like the marathons happen in major cities, but we look at this as a platform that will help the tier 2, tier 3 city CSOs to be able to raise funds. And it is great that we have you here, we have Tushar here to tell us and inspire us on how we can go about doing things. We'll put in all efforts, of course, and thank you for the platform.
Thank you, Veena. Thank you very much. Thanks for this. Tushar, I would like you to take over and tell us something. I mean, something about your great grandfather, something about your experience, what were his views on health, what were his views on charity. We would like to hear it from you, Tushar.
Thank you so very much, Venkat. It's such a great pleasure to be associated with this challenge that is the 500K steps challenge. I myself, although I walked the entire route from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi, because in those days when I did it in 2005, we didn't have the gadgets and things to keep track of the steps and the mileage and things. So I only, decided that I was going to walk the 241 miles from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi. And I said, it doesn't matter how much I walk in that one day. The day I reach Dandi, I'll know I have walked 241 miles. So till you came to me and said, it's all approximately 5 lakh K steps, I didn't know that I had in 2005 walked 5 lakh steps myself, because in my previous life or the way I was before, you've seen me. If somebody told me that I would be walking 5 lakh steps, I would say yes, maybe in my whole life I'll walk that much. That was what I was. And so having almost done that twice, because the second time, because of the lockdown, we had to curtail our journey. And so we have to still complete that. But in the last year of the lockdown, I decided to take things in my hands. And I started walking seriously, and I was walking about 3 to 4 hours every day on the terrace of my apartment building, because you couldn't go out anywhere. And so I'm sure that this 5 lakh K now will, what at one time used to feel like impossibility, is now very much doable challenge. And so I realized when I did that 2005 reenactment of the Dandi March, I realized that impossible was a state of mind. Nothing is impossible. You convince yourself that it's impossible and can't be done. But once you set your mind to doing it, it becomes very possible. And I just like to reminisce about the story from the historic march, because when Bapu broached the idea of this march and as a protest and picking up salt in defiance of the British, people were shocked at what he was suggesting. And the entire Congress leadership was not willing to agree, accept that proposal, because they thought that it was going to be a disaster and everybody would turn it into a joke and a laughing matter. And so they tried to convince Bapu to abandon that idea, the lunatic idea. and do something else. Motilal Nehru, who at that time was the senior most Congress person, wrote almost a 21-page letter to Bapu, explaining point by point why this was a very bad idea and why it would fail, and why the British would not, ignore the whole thing and ridicule it. And the result would be that the entire freedom movement would lose credibility with the people, and the people would then not accept the leadership of Bapu. It was a very detailed and reasoned letter that he wrote to Bapu. And in reply to that letter, Bapu sent him a postcard in which he just said, Adarniya Motilal ji, aapka khat padha, karke dekhe. And he signed off. So the effective reply to a very well-reasoned letter from Motilal Nehru was one sentence saying, karke dekhe. Do it and see. And the fallout to that was that Motilal ji accepted that, okay, even if it is suicidal, we've accepted Gandhi as our leader. And if he decides something, as a loyal soldier, we've got to follow it. And so slowly the entire Congress leadership came around and they said, okay, if you won't listen to us, then we will do what you say and let's hope for the best. And the rest, as they say, was history. And so when Bapu reached Dandi, and on 6th April, when he picked up a fistful of salt at the Dandi beach as a symbolic defiance of the British, and then gave a clarion call saying that now the people of India must break the salt law by making salt and selling Indian-made salt in every corner of the country. And people realized how easy it was for them to do it. And it was being done, that defiance was being done in every locality, every community, every village, every part of India. And that is when the British also woke up and said, my God, even the commonest of Indians are cocking a snook at us and defying us. And how can we allow this? And they decided to come down very heavily on the movement and crush it. Motilal Nehru, after Bapu's clarion call, decided that he would lead the salt satyagraha in Allahabad. And so at a public meeting in Allahabad, he announced that the next day he would break the salt law in Allahabad. And when he reached his home from the meeting, the police commissioner was waiting with a warrant at his home. He said, Motilal ji, I'm going to arrest you, so you have to come with me to the jail. And Motilal ji asked him, he said, can I wind up my things, make some arrangements, and then we'll go to prison? And he said, okay, I'll wait for you. The last thing that Motilal ji did before going to jail was sending a telegram to Bapu at Dandi, in which he wrote one sentence. He says, Adarniya Gandhi ji, करने से पहले ही देख लिया. And that was his admission of the brilliance of what Bapu had suggested and no one had grasped till then. And so the whole concept of Dandi is karke dekhe. Don't question your ability to do something. If you wish to do something and if you plan to do something, just do it. And you will get the strength and you will get the ability to do it at one point of time. And you will realize that you don't need physical strength to do these kind of challenges. You need the mental makeup and the will to do it. And then it does. And in 2005, I'll tell you, it was difficult for me. At times, I could hear my feet crying out in pain and saying, no more. I can't take one step further. And then my heart would tell my feet that, you at least have to reach the destination for today. Take a few steps, we'll reach the destination for today. Then maybe tomorrow we won't walk, but today you have to get me to the destination. And I would reach the destination. And next morning when I woke up and my feet said, okay, let's call it a day today. I said, okay, let's just start today's journey and see where we reach. And before I knew what was what, the 25 days were over and the 241 miles got over, and I found myself in Dandi at the spot where Bapu ended the Dandi March. And that is when I realized that it didn't require the physical strength or the physical ability to finish that journey. What it required was the resolve to do it. And once that resolve was made, the strength automatically emerged from that resolve itself. So when you take up this challenge of the 500K steps, remember one thing, you don't need muscles. You need the will to do it. And the way you two can run and Venkat has structured the whole thing, they've made it very easy. Remember one thing, in 1930, when Bapu walked from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi, he was 61 years old. He was a senior citizen. And yet, if you see the films of that Dandi Cooch, you will realize that the speed at which he walked, all his companions had to run to keep up with him. And all the others were within the age group of 16 to 21. And yet they had to run to keep up with the 61-year-old young man. So remember these things when you take up this challenge, and never consider it to be impossible. And I'm sure you'll be able to do it. There was a charitable component in the historical Dandi March too. Bapu, at every halt in the village, was collecting funds for the satyagraha. And he would go around the village with a begging bowl, asking for alms for the satyagraha fund. And all the money collected on that cooch was deposited in the satyagraha fund to fund the activities of the satyagraha after that. Today, the satyagraha that we face is of social reformation, social upliftment, the cause of helping the needy. And let's also turn this challenge, the 500K step challenge, into a spirit of giving to the society. While walking, make each step you take count and amount to a certain amount of money. Because by walking, you are going to earn good health for yourself. So let's go beyond a little bit and collect some funds for the good health of the society also. So my best wishes to all of you for this 500K steps challenge, and my congratulations and best wishes to all the partners who are joining in over here, the CSO partners. You are doing a wonderful job, a wonderful service, and carrying forward the ideal of my great-grandfather Bapu. So thank you very much. And I am going to do this 500K challenge. And I'll try to do it in the same time frame as Bapu did it. So here's another 61-year-old assuring you that he's going to walk that. So let's see how many of you are going to keep up with. Thank you very much, Venkat. It's over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and really inspiring words.
Amazing.
And amazing. Thank you very much. While we are free to take questions. If anybody wants to raise questions, please raise your hand, and I'll allow you to speak. And you can ask questions from Meena or from Tushar. But Tushar, what was this medical condition at 61? I mean, I know some things that he had a surgery, etc. But I mean, you know a lot about him. So describe Gandhiji as an athlete, as a medical. What was the medical history at 61 when he started the walk?
He was a very fit person in 61, because you must remember that right from his time in South Africa, he had made walking a daily habit. In South Africa, in Johannesburg, his home was about 5 miles away from his office. And he never used any other transport. For some time, he had invested in a bicycle, so he used to cycle to work. But then he decided that he needed to walk, so he started walking to the office, and he would come back and he would make that trip twice a day. 4 times a day, I'm sorry. He would go to the office in the morning, then in the afternoon, he would come back for lunch. Post lunch, he would walk back to the office, and then after the office was shut down, he would walk again. And when his sons were growing up, he took the responsibility of educating his sons himself. And so, because he didn't have the time the rest of the day, they devised a time that when they walked to the office, his sons would walk with him, and on the walk he would take their lessons. He would teach them while they were walking, and then when they reached the office while he was working, they would do all their homework and things, and then on the way back again, their class would be taken by walking. So my grandfather also got into the habit of walking. When he shifted to Phoenix Ashram, Phoenix was about 20 kilometers away from Durban city. And many times Bapu would walk from the ashram to Durban and back. Also, when he came back to India, he continued with that habit of morning and evening walks. So he was pretty fit that way. And because of his frugal lifestyle, he didn't have any of the lifestyle ailments that we urbanites generally earn through our lifestyle in the cities. And so I would say that at 61, he was a pretty fit person. He wasn't a strong man in any sense of it, because till the end of his life, people always described him as a frail person, physically frail person. But if you look at his photographs, he was lean, and what these days is said lean and mean kind of a build. Not an ounce of fat on his body. And so I think when he did the Dandi March at 61, he was in a supremely fit physical condition. His diet is another very inspiring thing. You know, all the marchers on the march, the diet that they would have during the march was prescribed by Bapu to the nearest grammage. How much flour, how much vegetable, how much ghee or butter in it, how many carbs. Everything was prescribed for every meal that they would consume, and the villagers were also told, where the villagers wanted to provide the food, they were told how much food per individual they were supposed to provide. And the marchers would not consume any more than the prescribed quantity. And on the march, as a energy food, what we these days carry energy bars with us, the energy bar that the marchers carried was a potli of roasted chana and a fistful of jaggery mixed together. And every time they felt low on energy or they needed some nourishment, they would take a fistful of chana and jaggery and munch on it while they were walking as the energy food for them. So every smallest detail was taken care of in that march by Bapu.
Fantastic, very nice. Yeah, the book contains all that. I mean, thanks to you, Tushar, you gave us all these details. The book that goes out to every participant contains the exact diet, and it is again a validation that to really survive and to do something like this, you don't need to eat a lot. You just need to eat healthy, but you need to eat good stuff that is nutritionally dense and local, of course, and healthy. I think that is one of the things that came out to me when I saw the daily menu that Gandhiji had prescribed. I'm sure that one day I would like to get a nutritionist and find out how much calories they were consuming and what was their macronutrients and all that, because we are interested in exploring Gandhiji as an athlete. When I say an athlete, I don't mean a sprinter or this, but as somebody who exercises, So we would definitely like to do a little bit more study and find out. Also, I would like to go through his biography and find out what kind of medical conditions he had previous to his life. I know that he underwent a surgery for, I think.
He had 2 surgeries. One was for fistula, and then he had appendectomy also. So there were two surgeries. He also had uh, health issues in the early part of life. In the 20s, he had very frail issue. He had blood pressure issues throughout his life. So there were reports of him suffering mild strokes at various points in his life, but no debilities, no debilitating ailment as such. Various parts of his life, there are references to his blood pressure being high, which all us descendants have inherited from him.
They say that stress is a very big cause for blood pressure, and I'm sure that he had the stress of freeing the nation, which must have been the factor for him to get that much of blood pressure. Dwarka has asked a question about what is the diet he had. Dwarka, in the book, in the handbook that we give out as part of the event, Gandhiji's specific instructions to each of the places where he's going to camp is very detailed. What must be done, how much ghee must be put on the chapati, everything is there. Okay, it's a long one paragraph, one page kind of thing, and it's part of the book, and we can share that with you separately. But one of the things that I want to mention in that, which struck me as very this, that everybody was instructed not to make any sweets, and he has written clearly that if any sweets are made, they will be rejected. They will not be taken up. The offer will not be taken up. They'll be rejected. So he had this very strong sense of discipline. If there is one thing that I want to learn from him, it is that even if somebody made sweets, for example, people come and give me chocolate, though I know that I should not be eating this, correct? But as are yaar abhi laake de diya, abhi kya karte hain yaar? I can't. It looks bad, if I say no to him, and I justify myself, and I have that. So I'm hoping that one day I'll get inspired by him, and I'll tell people, boss, you bought me sweets, thank you very much, but I can't have it.
There was a very inspiring story. Yeah, there was a very inspiring story associated with the Dandi Kooch when Bapu got very angry with the marchers. It happened as they were approaching Surat city. And two incidents happened which annoyed Bapu terribly, because in one instance, the cup in which Bapu used to drink his kada and his goat's milk, the handle broke. And so it was difficult for Bapu to drink his milk. So Mahadev decided that they would buy a new cup for Bapu. And he said, this is a journey and there's going to be rough handling. So let's buy two cups so that if there's an accident and one of them breaks, we still have one to spare and there won't be an emergency. So they bought two cups for Bapu. Bapu got annoyed, saying that only the handle of the cup had broken. The cup was still intact and I could very well drink my milk or kada from it. Why have you wasted money on buying another cup? And he said, you have not only wasted money in buying one new cup, but you have criminally wasted money by buying two cups, where one is not at all going to be used, thinking that we will use it in the future. And he said, if suppose I die and the cup remains unused, it will be such a criminal waste of money, and this I cannot pardon at all. The second incident that happened at near Surat was the marchers were all fed up of the same old fare that they were supposed to consume during the march. So they said, now we are close to the market and things, and they had somebody said, I'll lend you my car, my pickup for the day. So if you want to get some provisions, it can go to Surat and bring back provisions for you. So they ordered fruits and fresh vegetables and things, and the car came back carrying one whole basket of fruits and vegetables and things. And the marcher said, we'll feast on this. And Bapu came to know about it. And he made a very famous speech which was castigating the marchers, where he said the time has come to turn the searchlight inwards and find our flaws. He said, when we are still fighting for our freedom, if you succumb to the desires of luxury in this manner, when we win our freedom and you get the taste of power, how will you then resist the temptations which will come along with that power? And you have failed me, and I am disappointed in you. And I want to tell you today to turn the searchlight inwards and find your own weaknesses and flaws and rectify them. Because if you continue with these weaknesses and flaws, the entire movement of Satyagraha will be corrupted. So, he used to keep a watch on such minute things. To me and you, it will feel, hey, come on, after 22 days, those guys just ordered some fruits and 1 cup extra and some fresh vegetables. Where is there a moral corruption? But Bapu saw the desire for those unnecessary expenditure and tastes. And he said, no, this is a warning signal. From this, the desires will grow and the hunger will become unquenchable. And so he told them, he said, before you go out into the society, turn the searchlight inwards and look into your own conscience and tell me whether you have any ailments, weaknesses, or desires that you have not curbed as yet. This is also a lesson that we all need to learn today, because every time we do a good deed, somewhere or the other, we are craving recognition, we are craving record, we are craving accolade. And that corrupts the action of the good thing that we have done. And so at that point of time, what Bapu said must become our creed, that don't give within your comfort zone, but give till it hurts. Only then you will be really doing something which you can be proud of. And there was a story, I'm sorry I keep going on, but there was this one story while he was working in Bihar after the earthquake and collecting relief for the Bihar earthquake. On one of his journeys, a beggar came to him and he said, today, after begging the whole day, I have got 25 paise. And he said, I need 5 paise to survive today for my food and things. 20 paise is my surplus for tomorrow. So I don't need to keep it. So I'm going to donate that 20 paise to you for your cause, because you are collecting money for all the unfortunate people. And that evening in his meeting, Bapu declared that today I received the most precious and valuable donation to my cause. He said, I have received lakhs of rupees from Birlaji and Bajaj and all of them. But what I received today was more valuable than any of those huge endowments. He said, the man who gave me 20 paise has put his future in jeopardy, because if tomorrow he doesn't earn anything and he has to starve, these 20 paise could have ensured that he got a belly full of food for him. But by giving it away, he has jeopardized his future. And so me, his 20 paise are more valuable than the 1 lakh rupees that Birlaji gave. So remember this when giving or when seeking alms for others, that it is the feeling behind that giving, that the sacrifice behind that giving, that is of importance. So thank you very much, Venkat, once more.
Thank you. Thank you, Dwarka. Nice to know that you walk. I'm looking at the chat messages. And yes, we should highlight people to give. It is a virtue. We say that it, blesses the giver as well as the taker. Because in this case, for the example, in this case, Gandhiji was blessed because he got 5 paise from a beggar. But the beggar is also blessed because he had the propensity, though his capability was very poor. So many people have capability, but they don't have the propensity, and that is where we suffer, because, there's this greed. And Gandhiji's other quote comes that there is enough for everybody's need, but there's not enough for everybody's greed. And that is what donors must be told, something to that effect. And thank you very much. And they said we had a donor in Coimbatore who sent a money order of rupees 10 month after month without fail for years. Yeah, that's important. That's very important. Very, very important. Meena, would you want to add something before we close?
So
If
I
there are
think,
any questions, please raise your hands.
yeah, I think, in the sector, most of the organizations are used to being frugal. You have to make your rupee last as much as possible. So I think some of the best return on investments for donors are when they donate to organizations for the work that is done. And that's the first thing that I think that has been carried on from what Gandhiji used to do. And the other thing that is very inspiring is that he used even at every village that he stayed, he went around with the bowl asking for alms for the movement. And I think as fundraisers, we are somewhere or the other, we do get sometimes fed up of, "Arey yaar, kitni baar puchna padta hai." People, why don't people say no? And this is inspiring to know that no matter what, he kept at it. So I think that is the best takeaway that we will have as the sector and as fundraisers, that during this platform or whenever it is, the platform is helping us reach out to more and more people. So we have to keep at it to make sure that we raise as much as we can for the causes that we are working in. And so thanks so much, Tusharji, for letting us know this story.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Aisha has a question, and I'll take that question, and then Dwarka will unmute you. Okay.
Yeah,
Aisha,
my question.
You can unmute yourself and
Yeah, my question is to Tusharji. So I wanted to ask him. See, there are a lot of challenges that, as an individual, when you are driving a cause of this strong notion, generally it is difficult to get the public to believe in what you're doing, and that's where I think some of the challenges with the CSOs, because we work with the CSOs and we find it somewhere some of us are still not very confident in promoting our causes. So what would you suggest? Because a lot of founders in the group are there, and we work with them, and I would like you to help us with strong convincing answers to promote this more with the directors and get involved here.
Yeah, sure. Aisha ji, I very strongly believe that these days we put too much stress on the smartness of communication, the language and the way we write. I know that it's important because today is a day, time of communications and things. But I have always followed the ideal of let the work speak. And I've seen that when one lets one's work speak and lets people come and witness the work and its effect on people. I'll give you an example. I am associated with an organization in Kolhapur called Avni Sanstha, and they work with migrant laborers and rescued child laborers and rag pickers in the Kolhapur, Sangli, Miraj area. And we don't, I help them raise funds for their projects and things. We generally, what we do is we don't do a lot of communicating with donors and things. What we do is whenever we approach somebody for help or donation, we we invite them to the project site. Say, please come and visit our project site, see what we are doing, spend some time with us. And all the project sites of Avni are in the workplace of the targeted community. We have daycare centers for the children of bricklin workers. And all the daycare centers are in the bricklins where the parents are working as on the bricklin. The children who were before forced to work also on the bricklin, we have stopped them from working and they attend the daycare center where their hygiene, their health, their education is taken care of by Avni volunteers and things. They are given meals, they're fed, clothed, and things. So we take donors over there and say, witness what we are doing, see the change it's bringing to the target community. We are not going to send you fancy pictures. We're not going to send you fancy essays and things. Come see it. The same with the rag pickers. How Avni's interaction with them has changed their work culture, how it's made it more hygienic, safer for them, especially during these COVID times. And just day before yesterday, I was talking to Anuradha, and she very proudly told me, she said, Tushar bhai, amongst our rag picker and scavenger population, throughout the COVID epidemic, we did not have a single detected case of COVID infection in them. They remained healthy throughout this pandemic. And that is because Avni worked with them and instilled the idea of hygiene in them. Donors are taken and shown what difference the intervention of Avni has done for them, and in several of the other projects also. So I firmly believe that let's make our work speak for us, because all of us, all the people in the CSO movement are doing very significant work. But the lacuna is in being able to convey effectively that work. We reach the purse strings of our donors. But unless we strum the heartstrings of our donors, the purse strings will not become flexible. And the heartstrings will only be strummed when they come and see the difference that our work is making in the targeted society. So I think there needs to be a little bit of shift in that strategy of fundraising also, and let the work speak is what I very firmly believe. Although I will agree with you, funds securing funds is a big headache and a very difficult task. And post-COVID, because of the economy slump and all that, it's becoming even more difficult. But where's the fun in working if there's no difficulty? Where's the challenge?
Thank you. Thank you. Dwarka, you can unmute and share. You have been sharing very nice things, Durga Deshmukh stories. Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yes. Yes. Well, I happen to have had the privilege of interacting with Mr. Tushar Gandhi in London when he was at the Nehru Center, and we have had nice exchange of mails also. He had organized my father-in-law when he had come there. My father-in-law was a Sanskrit and philosophy scholar, so Mr. Gopal Gandhi had organized
my uncle.
Even once in a while we do exchange messages and things. And I was disappointed that he didn't have. He'd already accepted the position in other organizations. I would have loved to have him as a patron for Vidyasagar, for whom I work. Vidyasagar works with people with multiple disability, a large number of them. No, I was trying to say that we have heard first-hand stories of freedom movement and how Gandhiji did things from Dr. Durgabai Deshmukh. I studied in Andhra Mahila Sabha College in Hyderabad, and she and Dr. Deshmukh were there, and she used to tell us a lot of these stories. And that was very nice. And I have seen her raise money. She would just hold out her pallu and say, Annagaru Nakku Kavari, meaning, Bhai Sahab, I need money. And people would pour money into her pallu. So maybe I picked up my fundraising instincts from there. I don't know. And yes, I used to go on campaigns of adult literacy and road building, like
Yes.
should literally go with a thing and dig roads and say, oh, are you going to do it or should I do it, kind of a thing, should tell that and get them to do it. So, and to this, Ms. Aisha, I'd like to say, if people are proud of the work that their NGO is doing, there should be no hesitation in asking for funds. Well, and I don't take a one-time refusal as a permanent thing at all. If a person says no once, I don't simply let that person go. If I know that the person has a potential to give, I go back to that person. So at some point, they will give. I mean, no question of ego or shame or anything when you're raising money for a good cause. At least that's what I feel.
Yeah, but
And
one
this
of
time
the.
I've challenged myself to walk at least 10. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No. Saying I've challenged myself to walk 10 lakh steps by 26th January.
Understood.
So what I was saying
And
was that
got
when I go asking for money, I always tell them that, look, if I had come asking for money for myself, I would just ask once before, because I would feel ashamed to ask more. But I'm asking money for a cause, and I'm going to be very shameless. Till you tell me no and bar me from your home or office, I'll just keep coming and pestering you. So please bear with me.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Meena, do you have anything more to say before we close? Meena, do you have anything to say before we close?
No, just to thank you, Tushar so much for sharing so much with us, and it is inspiring. So we
Most
will
welcome.
continue doing it. Yes. Thank
Most
you.
welcome. Tushar, any final words before we close?
Bas, as I said, opening remarks, karke dekhe.
Karke deke. Thank you very much. So on that note of karke deke, thank you everybody for coming and spending this part of the day with us, whether in the live session or you're watching it later on the recorded session. We hope that you take part in the event. We hope that you use your good officers, your influence, your connections to raise fund for any one of the charities that is listed on the site. The charities are vetted by India Cash. They are verified, they are vouched for by us, and they have completely put a due diligence process in place. And whatever money you give, we take only the portion that is required to service the event participant. Everything else goes to India Cash, and therefore to the target NGO. There are a variety of ways in which you can raise. You can raise pledge pages. You can give a top up donation. You can give charity. If you are leading a large corporate CSR, you can give CSR money to the corporate, and then the registrations can be linked. So all the different models that are available for raising money are available. The platform enables, that technology enables. um, you can do HR activation, you can do marketing spends, different things, and we can also work with you to customize the event. For example, if there are more than a certain number of participants, we can put your corporate logo on the kurta or your corporate logo on the medal, and make it a little bit customized so that your donors also feel that they're getting a better value for their money, etc. So we are there. Meena and her team, Danush and everybody else will definitely reach out to you, help out, see that we make this event possible, see that we make more people healthy by taking up walking, and see that the CSOs get benefited in whatever way, small, large. It doesn't matter if somebody gave you 20 paise. It doesn't matter, as Dwarka said, somebody is sending 10 rupees every month by money order. Every single drop goes to make the ocean. Boon bun se banta hai sagar is a phrase that comes to mind, because that is what endurance sports does. Running, cycling, endurance sports, mass participation endurance sports are the biggest charity collectors in the world. There are many prestigious events, IPL, this, that, soccer league, sailing, tennis, golf, motorsports, all have got a lot of glamour. But if you look at the charity component raised, there is very little component. But endurance sports raises the largest amount of money, because even every small runner can raise 5,000 rupees. In 40,000 people in pro camp running 4,000, 5,000 rupees is something. You can ask 10 people for 500 rupees. You can ask 20 people for 250 rupees. Everybody can do it. It's very much within capability. And that also can add to a very significant amount, if everybody did it. So that is my this to the brand ambassadors, who health ambassadors who are part of the event. please reach out, tell people to raise money. It can for any cause. It doesn't matter what the cause is, as long as you do some good through the 500K step challenge for yourself and for the society. So thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. And I will end this session.
Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.